Hi, it's John from Matrix Amplification out here in our factory in Ventura, California, and today I'm going to be showing off some of the cool things about our Matrix Elements VB800 amp. Now, as its name and its looks will suggest, it's an amp based on a classic British design, namely the JCM 800 2203 single channel model. What we've done is taken the all-tube preamp design and bolted on one of our tried and tested Class AB MosFet backends to create a true hybrid amp. The amp module is just over 400 watts at 4 ohms, which gives around 150 watts at 16 ohms, plenty of volume for stage use, and more importantly, plenty of clean headroom to avoid any clipping issues, something that's plagued solid state amps in the past. Well, we've modified the power amp slightly as well, to be a lot looser than the ones in our rack amps, as in this case we weren't too concerned with it being neutral or flat response. So what that adds up to is a single channel amp that weighs in at 4 pounds, 2 kilograms, and is designed to be used from the bedroom to the stage, and is ultra portable, as you can see from its size and its weight. For those not familiar with the original amp, it's not a high gain monster, but it will take pedals very well indeed in the front end. If you think back to the era that this amp came from, that's when we saw the rise of the overdrive and distortion pedal to go with amps such as this one and boost the gain that the amp had. We've also added a serial effects loop on the rear, and that also has a controllable send level via a small pot here. 2 speaker outs as well, and a fan to keep everything nice and cool. Front panel controls are what you'd expect to find on a normal amp, with the exception of no presence control. That's to do with negative feedback, and as such it doesn't apply to solid state power amp sections, but the high EQ does have a wide sweep to compensate for that. In fact, all the tone controls do have a good range, something that couldn't be said unfortunately for some of the original amps around that time. Now, a lot of demos out there show the VB800 with our NL12 112 speaker, which is a great little lightweight speaker and fantastic as a portable little gigging rig with the VB800. But what I wanted to demo today was the 212 cab that we do. Now, although both these cabs sound a little larger than their speaker size due to their porting and design, etc., if you really want to get a big half stack sound, then simply take the VB800 and run it through a 412. It truly comes alive, and then it's a very faithful recreation of the original amp and how that amp was used back in the day. So if you're wanting to take, say, an amp to a jam night or to a venue where you know there's going to be a cab and you want to travel light, you don't have to break your back. You can use the VB800. It'll easily drive a 412 at gig volume, and you could even probably build a pedal board around the VB800 and power everything and then just run into a cab from there. So anyway, let's have a look first at some of the dynamics of the amp and how it reacts. Then I'll do some stuff with a bit more gain, as I know there are a couple of demos of low and medium gain stuff out there, and we've been asked about high gain stuff in particular. First I'll run the amp, the guitar rather, clean into the amp with no effects. Then I'll add some overdrive, a bit of EQ, delay and reverb courtesy of the Fractal Audio AX8 pedal, which I have running 4-cable method into the VB800. I'm not miking the cab up. I'm going to use the audio from the Zoom H4n mic that's mounted just below the digital camera, and probably mix that in with some of the audio from the GoPro, which I'll have mounted on the headstock of the guitar. So let's make some noise and see what this little amp can do. Okay, now I'm going to demo the amp at full gain. I'm not using any effects on the pedal board, it's totally bypassed at the moment, so this is straight into the amplifier. at full gain. I've engaged a tube screamer. I'm just going to show you some of the playing dynamics with the volume rolled off and how well it reacts to hard and soft playing even with a tube screamer engaged. So now we've got the tube screamer, a little bit of EQ and some reverb on. And let's make some noise. Distortion pedal, some EQ and some reverb. Okay, so let's have a look at the front and back panels of the Matrix Elements VB800 amp. Self-explanatory. We have a power switch, on signal light, high and low impedance inputs. Unfortunately, you can't use these at the same time and do a switching switch AB between them, just like on the original, which you weren't able to do on the original JCM800. So it is one at a time, unfortunately, for the high and low inputs. The high obviously gives you access to both gain stages, both preamp tubes, which are 12AX7s. We equip them with JJs, but any 12AX7 should do the job. Low impedance input will just give you access to one of those gain stages. Gain knob, obviously, how much distortion. Bass, for the demos we had it about halfway. Mid, again self-explanatory, and high. And as I said before, all these EQ controls have quite a wide sweep. We have a master volume right at the end, and then we have a signal light. Now this isn't a clipping light, this is basically to give you an indication of how much power the amp is outputting. So if you have a look on our website, we have some charts there which refer to how much power and at what stage that light will start lighting up. It starts flashing at around 25% of the amp's power, starts staying on solid at around 12.5% of the amp's power. So you can get an indication of how much wattage you're actually putting into your cab. Air vents on top and side, and then we're onto the back panel. So again, quite self-explanatory. We have a IEC power mains in, serial number, air vents on the back, 2 speaker outs. Now we've used normal jack outputs, seeing as it's a more traditional guitar amp. Total impedance of both these loads together shouldn't exceed 4 ohms, so you can quite easily run an 8 and a 16 ohm cab down to about 6 ohms if you so wish, or a 4 ohm, one 4 ohm cab, two 8 ohm cabs, two 16 ohm cabs will be fine. Have an effects send and return, and then we also have a send level, so you can adjust that to match the level needed by your multi-effects or effects pedals. Fan is obviously just to keep things cool, and keep all the heat sink and the MosFets that are in there on the power section working nice and smoothly. Okay, on the top, anodized metal, gold and black, just with laser etched Matrix Elements VB800, which stands, if you didn't realise, for Vintage British 800. And that's about it.